Welcome to my channel, Rashida Silvertree here, and today we're going to talk about minimalism. So, as of late, I have been, I felt this call to get back into my minimalism and my minimalistic practice. I started getting into this back in 2016 when I first moved out west. I'm going to say this up front. I have always lived with my bags half packed. Why? I don't know. Over the time of, in the decades of moving around, I've been to 13 different schools growing up. I've moved, I can't tell you the number of times I've moved to different spaces and places. I think the longest I've lived in a house was 5 years. And that was when my mom purchased her first home. So I lived there from like 13 years old to 18 years old. I think that's the longest I've ever lived in one place, in one house, in my life. But as far as residency and stuff, I have moved multiple times, at least once a year. It's normal for me. I feel like that's just part of my nature, is just moving and adapting and being flexible. And there's pros and cons to that. But as of late, I was on a minimalism path of which I started to really hone in by like 2019, 2020, where I really started to simplify with how many, the things in my home, like, the necessities of the things that I owned. And minimalism really kind of took off like 5-6 years ago online. I was just really inspired because I'm not a woman that likes a lot of stuff. I like things to be super neat, practical. I don't like a lot of decorations. If I'm going to decorate, it's going to be surrounding myself with life-giving things, meaning plants, instruments. I like to keep jars from some weird reason of spices and herbs. And then you have my clothes. Now, I think I'll make more of a series out of this minimalism practice because this is something I've kind of had to revisit and then kind of leave alone for a while due to the last two major relationships I've had in my life where I would share a space with someone. And so when sharing a space with someone, it's like you constantly have to consider their comfort level. I can do with very little. I don't need a huge sofa. I don't own a flat screen TV. I don't need tons and tons of clothes, right? I need at least a month's or maybe less than that, like 2.5 weeks worth of clothes, and maybe about 4 or 5 pairs of shoes, for 4 seasons, a winter coat, maybe a weather coat or trench coat that's nice, I just don't need a lot of stuff. And even down to my spiritual practice, and like I'm going through this yet another phase of Naja, purge your stuff, purge what that you don't need, and it will clarify a lot of the burden and this feeling of overwhelming like force I feel like it's on my shoulders because I have extra stuff. So yeah, I feel this need to, it's like a call to prepare for something or to prepare for a move. I will be moving soon. So that's coming up. And then just realizing what's important to me and what I can go without, right? It's pretty much in the title. And so these are the questions I'm asking myself. And the biggest thing I've struggled with minimalism is just this whole classist thing, which classism is slowly becoming more and more of, it's gaining some traction in the past couple of years due to inflation, global inflation, hyper and global inflation. And I felt more clear-headed, more level-headed, more centered, and just more prepared with less material possessions, things that I cared about, than I do with tons of junk. Like junk music equipment, junk books, junk. I feel very frazzled, and it causes, confusion or just this unsettling anxiety I never liked clutter, ever. And so, my issue with it is just it's like, well, I never really have people come over or visit my space. And I did a little like psychology test, and where they say that, for your attachment style, and it said I'm like a fear attachment style, I think I have, or anxiety, where it's like I keep people away but close enough but not enough to like bring them into my home or space, because I don't believe that they're going to be there long enough. To me, my home is my sanctuary. My home is my safe space, and I make it comfortable for me. I don't make it comfortable for the guests or uninvited guests. There are so many times, not so many, but once in a blue moon, I would invite like a really close friend over. And this is when I was living in the city of Phoenix, and I had my own studio apartment. And it was a furnished apartment too. It was nice. It was really nice and affordable. Well, I mean, it was still expensive, but it was affordable at the time. And it had nice wooden floors and just had nice echo. And she comes in, my friend comes in, and she looks around, and all I have is just a pad on the floor. I literally slept on a sleeping bag and like a roller mat that you put underneath the sleeping bag and a pillow. I tried the whole floor mat thing, and it just wasn't what I really needed. It took up a lot more space than I wanted, and I just didn't feel like I really needed it to begin with. So I got rid of my Japanese mat that I had at the time, and I just got a sleeping bag. And when I needed to clean or when I needed the space, I just rolled that bad boy up, and put her to the side and do what I needed to do. But she came in and she looked so uncomfortable. I mean, so uncomfortable. She comes in and she sits on the floor like this, on her knees. She clasps her hands together and she's like, oh, mm-hmm, and I felt sort of embarrassed, and to me it was like I loved it. It was clean. I didn't have a lot to clean up. I didn't have to, I knew that if I needed to bounce, like for whatever reason, to get up out of Dodge, I could just boom, 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 pack and bounce. I didn't have to think like, what am I going to do with this shelf? What am I going to do with this? What am I going to do? Like, I would have enough time. I wouldn't be like freaking out, right? And I started to feel self-conscious about it because like that time, I think it was 2019, my closet, I had like 5 pairs of dresses, couple of pairs of pants, and like 3 pairs of shoes. I didn't need a lot of stuff. And I just felt so clear. Anywhere I've lived, I've always knew I wouldn't be there long. So that's how I live. Is that weird, guys? I don't hang things up on the wall. If I hang anything up, it's my own artwork. And it's artwork I can easily take down and pack up and put in my art portfolio and move on and move out. Like, that's me. That's my life, For a long time, I used plastic containers to pack my stuff. Even now, you have these big plastic, tote things, but now I switched to more glass because it's more environmentally friendly and good, non-toxic and whatnot. But yeah, it's like, I have an issue with clothes where I like quality things. I like cottons, linens, I'm getting rid of this dress here. I'm going to donate it. You see this? I wore it once, at least another color of it, and the sweat, it's mixed with something else. And it's elastic, and it just made me itch and itch and itch. I mean, look at it. It's pretty. It's a nice, pretty dress, but it doesn't feel good on my skin, right? And I just don't have that attachment to material things like that. I really don't. And it's always freaked me out. I always thought, something's wrong with me. What's wrong with me? Why do I feel like I need so little? And it's just, that's how I am. And in one of my last relationships where I cohabitated, which I will never again, but cohabitated with an individual, and he needed things. He needed a full couch. He needed a flat screen TV. He needed more furniture and a table and this and that and this to feel more at home. And I just don't. I need the bare minimum. The bare minimum. I have 13 plants. 13. And at first I thought, well, let me fill my whole apartment with plants. And I'm like, why? They're doing okay, some of them. I have a lot of vines. So anyway, but I'm heeding to this call of prepare, prepare, prepare. And it's about the mind, like preparing the mind, not necessarily just purging and getting rid of things. And my mom is also going through this massive shift in her life. I think she is. And she was telling me my dad was helping her get rid of a lot of stuff. Because my mom has always been one where, for her, she's always loved large furniture. I'm talking about the type of shit that you need 5 people to help you move. I mean big, like monumental pieces of beautiful furniture and artwork even. But she's getting rid of it. She's making moves. And you know what? I can't wait to see it. But I wanna honor this calling by getting to the space that I was, because sometimes for me anyway, relationships can really take you off kilter if it's not compatible with your values and principles. You end up just incorporating, you know what I'm saying? Like if I was with another minimalist, it would have been like perfect, but I wasn't. I was actually enforcing my lifestyle on someone who's naturally materialistic and naturally he just needs things, needs more of the same version of whatever, to feel complete. And that's okay. That's okay. I'm an adventurer. I'm a traveler. I move around. If I'm going to stay within a state, I'm going to probably move city to city to city. I move around. Even in apartments, I don't stay in for more than maybe 2 years is the longest, but I don't see myself doing that, possibly in the near future I will, because of things that are coming together, but that I haven't really talked about too much yet. But yeah, it's just like, I don't need the things, and it's going to take a very specific kind of personality, I think, to blend with me, if that were the case. Sorry, I keep rubbing my glasses because I'm sweating. We had a massive rain due to the Beryl storm, and so there's a lot of moisture in the air. But yeah, it's like realizing what is truly important to me and what can I do without. And given that I've lived on homesteads where I was showering outside with insects and bugs, spiders about that big, not even joking. Out in Mexican desert, I have shat in a bucket of wood chips in a tiny house that was kind of falling apart, that was also bug infested. I've had to cramp myself in my van in between places and living spaces. Living on a cot in my van, like I'm very flexible and adaptable. To someone, that's like the end of the world. Like they'll just have a complete psychotic break or something because of they have to crap in a bucket. I don't. It's a practice. We've been doing it for centuries, for many millennia. This is part of my personality that I'm finally coming to peace with, that I never ever ever again want to enforce on someone that I meet. That's why, like, I know cohabitation, like, it would just have to be a very specific type of person who has the same values and outlook on materialism as I do, because you just don't need so many things. You don't need a lot of clothes. With teaching, I will need, like, a good set of like, several pieces of clothing to look nice and to be professional, obviously, but it's still, like, I don't know, something in me is saying prepare the mind, prepare the mind, prepare the mind. Let go of things that you don't need in your space. And so that's what I'm doing right now. But I just wanted to share that with you because it's like I've been kind of made fun of throughout my life. Like, why don't you have this? Or Naja, you don't have a couch. And here's another thing. I think this is a way for me to protect myself as well, because when you invite people that you're just getting to know and they see how you live and you live well, they'll kind of gauge and fill you out. Oh, I got a good story for you. They'll kind of gauge and fill you out and see, like, oh, she got it together. She got it together. Okay. All right. I'm going to move in. I kid you not, that's happened to me before. I swear to you. Twice. I had 2 instances, and this is, yes, I have been very green and immature, okay? Because again, one of my weaknesses as an empath is that I see the best in everyone and the potential in everyone, and these 2 individuals were going through a rough patch in their life, right? But I had it together, working a full-time job on salary, not making bank, but I was making a good living, and I had my own space, my own place. It was nice, clean, and they said to themselves, did 2 separate occasions, okay, mind you. They said to themselves, like, yeah, I can move in. They call it hobosexual now, meaning a man that will, a woman invites the man over and he kind of does a whole tally up of what she's got. And and then he starts like telling himself, like, what can I do to make sure that I stay, to make sure I can ease myself on in here. And so one individual used the guise of being a spiritual person. He was younger than me, but he was all about consciousness and being spiritual, but he had some other stuff going on mentally. It wasn't all the way there, mentally stable. And I remember one night we were just hanging out. I wasn't allowing him to stay the night, but I thought he wouldn't leave. That was the scariest moment of my life. Not the scariest, but it was a very scary moment. He eventually left, but I was like, whoa. Then I guess I didn't learn from that lesson. The second lesson was an individual who's a traveling musician. And, there was a romantic connection and things weren't really adding up and it wasn't going to work out anyway. And I gave him that key to my place. Oh my God. And luckily enough, he had some opportunity in Nevada or Las Vegas or something. And when he left, I asked for my key back, and he gave me the craziest look because to him, I was a resource. I was a place to stay. So things didn't work out in Nevada. Boom, he's got a house key, can come right on in, and yeah. But thankfully, he was kind enough to give me, the key. If either of these men were really diabolical, they would have just had their mail sent to my address. Then they would have an automatic right to live there and to be a resident until the lease was up. That's the laws that they're changing right now in a lot of states, where if you allow somebody to stay in your house for more than 90 days or 30 days or something, and they end up getting mail sent there, you can't really kick them out. No matter if they're abusive, no matter if they're homeless, no matter what they bring into your home, you can't get rid of them. So, and especially if you own the home, you're in deep, deep, deep poo-poo. Renting, you just wait till the lease is up, boom, get out of there, and then they're on their own again. But, women have to be so careful, and men too, But women have to be super careful. So now, it's like I joked with my mom. I was like, my home isn't very comfortable. My mom hasn't even been to my apartment. My dad has, but he didn't even sit or stay or anything. There is nowhere to sit. I don't make my space like hospitable because it's just my space. It's for me. I don't. I'm just one of those types of personalities. And I'm like amazed when people just let people in their home. But that it's a sign of love, like the people that have invited me over to their home, they trusted me all throughout my travels. and I was a guest in someone's home. They trusted me. Airbnbs, they trusted me. Like, so I'm trustworthy, but would I be able to do the same thing? I'm not quite sure. With the type of life experiences I've had and the lack of following my internal compass, intuition per se, no, I wouldn't. So minimalism is kind of tied into a life of simplicity, and just right now I'm identifying what's important to me and why, and catering my lifestyle to what I see, how I see fit, and not really having to worry about reshaping things or worrying about, well, man, if I invited this person, they're going to think I'm really broke or whatever. Let people think however they think. Let people assume you're broke as broke it out. Let them. Because that's how people judge you. Oh, you don't have a $300 or $3,000 furniture set. You must have nothing. I have no problem going to a thrift store and getting cutlery and stuff like that. Put that money towards your debt. Put that money towards your investments. Put that money towards your education. Put that money towards high quality digital devices that can help you do what you need to do. Put that money towards a good working vehicle. Put that money towards your business. Put that money towards helping somebody or helping an organization, or traveling, or your health, eating healthier foods. That's how my mind works. So, let me know what you guys think below. I'll make more minimalism videos because it is a weird thing that I do that I've always felt weird about, but I'm less weird. I'm less self-conscious about it as I get older. But dating and being a minimalist, make sure the person's a minimalist too, because it ain't gonna work out very well. It's just a lot of the conflict I experienced in my last connection it was mainly about money and also just lifestyle, like just purely lifestyle, to be quite honest with you. And it's like moving. Anytime I think of like having a room of junk, it's like when I move into a new space, it's like, oh my God, when the lease is up, I have to figure out, how am I going to move all this stuff? If it takes more than one person to move out of your apartment as a singleton, my singletons out there, you got too much shit. If it takes more than one person, you got too much. And this is specifically for people who are interested in minimalism. If you're not, and you're like, you have to have your home has to be like your castle, whatever, you need things. This ain't for you. Click off. But for those of you that are interested in minimalism and you don't know where to begin and you don't know how to gauge what's what, I'm with you. You're with me. We're in this together. I'll make more videos on it. Especially with clothes too. It took me a long time to learn how to pack. It took me a long time to learn how to pack. Let me tell you, Europe taught me a lot. Let's just say that. When I was traveling and taking Ryanair, okay, and traveling from France to Spain, quite a lot at the time. Yeah, you need way less than you think you do. The most important thing is outerwear and shoes, okay? But, and clean underwear. But, you can wash those out. But yeah, I see now where I can like kind of go into different things and how many items I own and stuff, which again, people can get kind of caught up in that too. Like, oh, I own only 50 items. Like, who the F cares? You own 100, you own 200, you own 1,000. So what? It's all ego. It becomes egoic. No, this isn't egoic. No. I do what you want. You know what I'm saying? Live as you like. Live as you love. But that's it. Let me know what you think. I want to share more on it. And if you guys want more specifics as far as like items of clothing or the type of furniture I have and stuff, like I'm probably not going to give you an apartment tour because I believe in safety first. And, but I can definitely talk about things for sure. To be honest with you, I have a whole room full of clutter. a whole room. And it's been there for quite some time. And I think it's the worst. I think it's the worst clutter I've ever had, to be quite honest. And I think it's just residual stuff from a residual type of energy from my past connection, like over a year ago, to be honest. But I just have been putting it off, putting it off, putting it off. It's not like I'm buying things and then storing it in there. It's just stuff that in the initial move and separation, I've kind of plopped there and never kind of really went through it. So it's not anything new. I'm not like acquiring more and more, but it's definitely something I need to like shift through since I'll be moving again. So, with that, I love you all. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you soon. Mwah.